And welcome back to Season 2 of the Rainbow Pitch League. We have some Week 3 action here. My name is Kiki. I am one of the co-founders, and once again I'm joined again by another lovely co-founder, Elaine. Say hello.
Hi, how are you today?
I'm doing great, thank you. How are you doing?
I'm doing okay. Hanging in there.
Fantastic to hear. This week we have sponsors. We are giving out prizes for this week, and this week's sponsors are PCG, Altered Ashley, Andy from API Source, and Fabratorium. So we've got some fantastic sponsors today, and we have some plays already happening. Here we have a Take Flight, and this has been charged, so we're coming in for 2, potentially more. This will have go again nonetheless, but damage is coming through. Looks like we have a We may or may not be having some issues, technically, and we might have to record this again, but here we have an attack with a hot streak coming in for 2, and if this is blocked with an action card, it gets go again, an attack action, specifically.
Yeah, we should also go ahead and just, while it's still turn 0, introduce our players. This is a bounty game, so we have Mara Faris as a player I'm sure that many of you know on Dash.io in the Rainbow Pitch League this season, facing Anastasia Benner, who is a major Bolton enthusiast. So this is someone who really knows Hero. So I'm excited to see how this plays out.
For sure, she has told me she is the top Bolton player in Richmond. Granted, she told me she might be the only one as well, but, still, to be the top player in Richmond for Bolton, pretty big deal.
Hey, yeah, we take that title even.
So here we have another weapon attack. This is still turn 0. The first weapon didn't get through, but damage has happened. And we have Mara, of course, on the left-hand side, as most people would know who she is. But with her beloved Dromai rotated out, or rather hitting the living legend, she's had to move on to Metrix with Dash.
Yep, Dash.io, so that's 1 point of damage leaked through on turn 0 because the Saber block got a +2 there, both from the Saber's ability and from Bolton's ability. Dash.io does start at 36 life.
Of course, of course. We are getting an end of turn item play rather than a pitch, using Dash.io's ability to look at the top card of your deck at any point of the game, and if it's an item, you may play it for 0. Not for 0, add instant speed for 1 additional. There we go. We got there. Speaking of getting there, it also puts a counter on Mara's symbiosis shot. So we're gonna get ready to start attacking on Mara's turn. This dash deck is a very aggressive style deck and gets its card advantage from being able to play an additional card from the top of the deck, which instantly really synergizes with weapon, and that's kind of how the deck functions. It's going to be like this sort of engine thing. You can boost or remove cards from the top of your deck, also because you need to keep on attacking, but to kind of manipulate what you can play off the top. So we're going to be seeing a lot of checking the top of the deck throughout this game.
Yeah, definitely. I am not a mech player myself, but I know that you are. I think that you're the mech player and I'm the warrior player. So I think despite the fact that you just woke up and I have COVID, we are we are a very good pair to commentate this match. So.
Not to say that we have biases or anything, but I'm definitely dash inclined here. So it looks like we have an item played off the top. I can't quite pick out what that one is. No, that's not an item. That's an attack. It was a boost. I still can't quite pick out what it is, though.
I believe that is a scramble post, which is the 2 cost attack comes in for 5, and it gives equipment -1 on defense.
Mm-hmm. Which is a pretty big deal. Like, warriors are known for having quite a big fridge, especially with that Valiant Dynamo wanting to block frequently, getting that 1 point of value almost every turn. Losing that value is pretty tough, but the combo chain's broken, so we're not going to see it again. Here's a boom grenade, rather, being played out I can't tell what color that is, but we are not cranking this boom grenade. It is just going to remain for the following turn, and we're getting the counter on the weapon and an arsenal. Now, we've had a quick look at these lists. Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I believe it's a yellow boom grenade, so threatening three
Oh,
damage.
perfect. Okay, so we are seeing another charge card here. I can't remember the name of this one, but this is the one that draws a card on hit. So this is one that you'll want to prevent from blocking. But it looks like we just gave an item here to block out the full damage, and that was the legendary, or one of the legendaries from Bright Lights, which is a galvanized piece of equipment. You can sacrifice any item, and it can go in any slot as well, so it's really adaptable in that sense. But that just blocked all 3 damage to prevent the card draw and ending the turn because we didn't have a buff on that charge card.
I love how you described adaptive planning as adaptable, because that is exactly what it is.
Yeah, sometimes we just want to make you work a little bit as fans through the use of wordplay rather than just giving it to you straight because we believe in your abilities and we think you're clever. So we've gone back. We've gone back to Mara's turn. The counter has come off the boom grenade, and we are looking to play another item off the top, and we have another boom grenade. This is going to be a massive must block kind of turn here. We have 3 counters of Symbiosis Shot, and we still have a full grip of cards to play with. Like, there was no cards blocked from hand.
Yeah, that looks like a yellow boom grenade and a red boom grenade. So that's 7 damage together, potentially. I'm gonna pitch a high octane and see what Mara wants to come in here with. Potentially thinking
Oh,
about the taking the pitch back, it looks like.
mm-hmm.
Okay, putting the
Nope.
pitch back down.
Maybe Mara was contemplating drawing a card off the high octane. Maybe she's a bit light on resources and would like, if you pitch another card to play a high octane and draw blue, you're now up 2 resources compared to where you were previously, or 1 resource. 2. I can't do the math right now, but here we have a boost card. This one is
That is an outpace boost card, which can't be blocked by equipment. So
perfect. Once again, Mara doing a fantastic job of stopping this fridge from coming in, but that is a fate foreseen.
yeah, really preventing Anastasia throughout this game so far from getting any use off the Valiant Dynamos, which is just so much value for warrior players, right? Ideally, you want to be using it every single. I mean, at least when I play this, I use it every turn to block.
Mm-hmm.
But the Fate Foreseen is a great response from Anastasia.
For sure, that's the exact kind of card you want in this situation. You don't want these boom grenades to get
Yeah.
their value, and you don't want to give multiple cards to this outpace. So we're getting a Symbiosis Shot for 2. Just getting these counters out of... Getting this damage through kind of while you can. Trying to take cards out of Anastasia's hand, I believe, is kind of what's the plan here. I don't believe these trigger the boom grenades from memory.
I was just thinking that, and from memory, I don't think so either. I believe it's the next mech. Well, it might be the next mech attack, or is it the next attack action card? You know what?
Let's just
I'm
quickly do a
watching
little
this.
check.
Looks like it does not trigger the moon grenades.
Here at the Rambo Pitch League, we do our homework. Kind of. Just at the
Like I
very
said,
last minute. It is, in fact, a Mechanologist attack action card that has to hit. So that means that Annie's managed to completely stop one of these boom grenades from resolving. It'll be sacrificing itself at the start of Mara's next turn, but in the meantime, we have another charge card. I'm slightly less familiar with this one.
I believe that might be a beaming bravado. which is a zero cost. If you charge a yellow, it gets +1 because a yellow is not charged, so it just came in for 1. Mara said, "I'll take the 1 damage." One of those, that yellow boom grenade, is dead. So now we're only threatening an additional 4 damage on hit for Mara's next attack mechanologist attack action card. But that's still a lot of damage that Anastasia needs to think about.
We're only threatening an additional 4 this turn.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's better than 7.
it is better than 7. You see that Mars boosted one of the promotional 0 to 60s. That was blue art rather than green art, and I'm slightly jealous. But with the way that we've seen this game play out so far, we're not seeing Bolton being very aggressive. Do you think we're maybe leaning more towards a sort of like Lumina Ascension kind of combo variant of this deck?
I believe so. Running the 2 like daggers. I believe we're gonna be looking for a combo turn.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Like, because Annie's played these charge cards, but hasn't really been fussed about trying to string a chain of attacks together. It's kind of just building up the soul. In the meantime, while Mara's just been trying to get damage, but as we can see, Annie's life is still quite high at 38.
Yeah, and he's been like you said, charging up the soul. Also, these fate for scenes kind of helping filter through your deck a little bit faster is a pretty good thing when you're Bolton trying to look for a combo turn. And I know I was talking about Valiant Dynamos, but if you're playing combo Bolton just trying to load soul right now, you might not see as much play on the Valiant. So the equipment disruption um, might not be as impactful as usual, but
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
looks like Anastasia's gonna take the 2.
And we're playing another
All
item off the
right.
top. Is this a
Yeah, and
powder keg? Am I seeing things right? Is this powder keg?
that's powder keg. Yes, that is a
How did you
powder
get?
keg. Looks like a coal. Is that coal foil powder
Of course it is. This is Mara we're talking about.
keg? I
She's a
don't even
fancy
know why
girl.
I
There's fancy
asked.
dragons, and now we've got fancy coal foil items on this side.
She just likes to have a shiny board state. That is what Mara enjoys.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Rumor has it the items remind her of Chromai, so shiny and deadly. I do have to say it's a bit odd that I'm seeing a Raiden playmat and no Raiden in play, but when you love all aspects of Bolton, you have to represent all aspects of Bolton. Speaking of the weapon attacks, though, here we're coming in with a hot streak for 2. Now this one
Maybe
crucially doesn't
the
charge. Oh, we have a +2 on this weapon, and it's going to give +2 to the next weapon attack. So we've already gone past defenses, though. So this won't have go again by itself. This might just be a way to get cards out of hand.
value. Maybe the Raiden playmat is kind of like a psychological thing. You know, when you present your hero and it's like you present Bolton on a Raiden playmat, and it's like, oh, I'm okay. This person's on Raiden build for sure, and then whip out the sabers.
True. It could just be a massive psyops here.
It's a psyops. Okay, Arsenal pass, and we are back to Mara's turn.
We're back to Mara's turn. And he crucially kept 2 cards in hand there, so wasn't able to use the full hand in that previous turn. But maybe she decided to keep a defense reaction or had nothing to charge with and just wasn't able to use that full hand. But because Mara played an item rather than another attack last turn, maybe she was kind of expecting to block with more then.
Yeah, or it might be a key piece to Anastasia's combo turn that she's looking for because we do know that Anastasia took damage during Mara's
Mm-hmm.
last turn. So since she took damage, but she still didn't play at her full hand and put that card in arsenal, you got to wonder if it's one of Bolton's card. Maybe not a Lumina Ascension. It could be something like a Soul Shield or Beacon of Victory via the Vanguard. These really big cards for Bolton.
Mm-hmm. Of course, maybe she could have drawn two Luminas. It's always
Yeah,
possible.
yeah.
Okay, so we have boosted again. We're coming in for damage. Um, looks like we have 3 cards in Mara's
Fender
hand.
Bender.
Fender Bender, thank you very much. For those who don't know, which one is Fender Bender? What does that one do?
Fender Bender is you can. What is it? It's boosts like plus X where X is the, and then it gets plus X where X is the amount of equipment that defends it. I believe. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I'm pretty
All
sure it's
right. We're
correct.
gonna.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sorry, I
it's
just
like
put you
one
on
of
the
those
spot
that's
like
like
that.
plus. You like it's a boost card, and then I think it gets like plus X for where X is the amount of equipment defended against it. I believe it's something like that. I know it's like
Mm-hmm.
the X. Anyway, we're gonna see a spark of genius.
We have the Spark of Genius. A blue is pitched so we can go to X equals 2, which is one of my favorite lines, but instead of getting an induction chamber, we have gotten the Teklo Pounder. So the first time each turn the Mara boosts, it's going to gain plus 2. Oh, is this a big
All
turn?
right,
We're cracking all
okay,
the
this is
equipment.
a big turn. Yeah. Okay, with a red slizzy dizzy. I'm sorry, a slice. A red slice and dice. So we have all the equipment being popped right now. Gallantry gold. Um,
I just want
Courage
to
of
note this
Blade Hold.
is. Oh, yeah.
I'm sorry. Real quick for the people who don't know what this equipment is doing. So, Courage of Blade Hold is making Anastasia's sword attacks free. Gallantry Gold is buffing them +1, and then we got the Warband. Is that Warband Bologna that Anastasia
Mm-hmm.
was running as the headpiece? Yeah. So that on destroy it, when you charge a yellow card, you draw cards.
Mm-hmm.
And
Now.
then the slice and dice. And a
Mm-hmm.
double Lumina. So I think you're right. Anastasia must have drawn double Lumina.
That's Lizzie Dizzy. One thing I want to note about this is that equipment was used fresh. There was no counters on there whatsoever, and that's like a testament to all of Mara's anti-armor sort of boost cards. Um, but I think Annie is okay giving away that value because she's coming in for 8 with this hot streak. And of course, this is blocked with an attack action card, which is almost the entirety of Mara's deck that isn't a non-blocking item. Then this will get go again. But because Mara doesn't block, Annie just gets to use Bolton's hero ability and gets to charge more soul to keep on going. Gain 1 life. We're going to look at 2 cards every time a weapon hits. This is going to be a whole ton of damage that I don't have the brain capacity to do the math for right now. But I think it's going to be quite a lot considering how big that was. And here we have an attack for 5. It's not going to get the slice and dice bonus this time. But 5 is still a big amount of damage, and we're still going to be able to attack up to 3 times with the Centauri Saber as well. There we see Route going to the bottom of the deck, which is one of
I
Annie's
believe
favorite
that was
cards.
I think that was a red Blade Runner, actually.
Oh, was that not a Route? Oh, okay, never mind. I got ahead of myself.
Yeah, I believe it was a Blade Runner. I could be wrong, also though. Who knows?
I'm going to go with our warrior expert here.
This is a big turn for Anastasia, nonetheless.
Mm-hmm.
But a
This
turn
is,
that Mara is just kind of eating the damage.
yeah, I feel like when you're playing against these sort of Lumina Ascension turns, if you can't block out the first 2 attacks immediately, and like fully block them so they don't get the value, you'd rather block later on because especially with the Centauri Saber, the damage bonus that sticks onto it remains for the whole turn. Or for the hot streak, if you give it go again, the weapon gains go again, so all the attacks from that point onwards are going to have go again naturally as well. So you'd rather block later almost and just kind of force them to have it, force them to hit the light cards off the top, and not give bonuses for the remainder of the turn. Of course, blocking the equipment is also fantastic here. That doesn't buff this entire saber, and you're getting your value without losing cards in your hand. And Mara's going to need a big turn to come back from this. So, yeah.
Yep, definitely. Um, Lumina Ascension. I know we're witnessing a very powerful Lumina Ascension turn right now, double Lumina Ascension. But do you want to quickly talk about the card text on Lumina Ascension in case anyone watching might not know exactly what it says?
Okay, so for those who don't know what Luminous Ascension is, it gives your weapons +1 for the turn. Am I lying about that? Um,
No, you're
and
correct.
Okay, cool. And when the weapon attack hits, you reveal the top card of your deck. If it is a light card, it goes to the soul and you gain 1 life. Otherwise, it goes to the bottom. So you want to see a whole bunch of light cards, and because there's 2 Luminous Ascensions, we're looking at 2 cards off the top every time it hits. And as we can see, Annie's life total has crept back up. We're going back to 40, but most importantly, it gives the +1, it gives the soul, and it also lets your weapons attack multiple times. So because there's 2 of them, each weapon can attack 3 times this turn. And this is just in combination with 2 of them and these weapons stacking up, we have brought Mara's life total down to 5.
Right. It synergizes perfectly as well with Bolton's hero ability that, of course, if your weapon attack is, or if your attack has base attack higher than base attack, my goodness, you can banish a card from soul to gain go again.
So here we've got to dive through data. Is it that one? No, maybe I'm wrong. It's not dive through data. This is.
That's dive through. That is dive through
Oh, it
data.
is? I was right. Okay, never mind. Pretend like I knew it all along. Um, this is a boost card, and when it hits, you get to opt. I want to say.
Yes, opt
Yes,
one
opt
on hit.
1. There we go. Um, Now, the thing about these sort of Bolton combo decks is that it can be a little bit more tough to close the game out if your opponent survives the big combo turn, which is what we might see at this point now. Um, we're getting an activation of the Teklo Foundry Heart to give Mara 2 more resources, remove the top card from the deck, and we get to see a fresh new card off the top, and there is a Boom Grenade, adding a counter to the Symbiosis shot. So that weapon has 4 counters on it. We might see 4 attacks down the line. Just a little token there to signify that the dash has activated her hero ability as well.
That's really cute.
Mm-hmm.
I love a good token. Sorry.
We love tokens. We love clarity. And it's just really important to note that Dash's ability is once per turn. She doesn't get infinite value off the top of her deck, just a lot of value off the top of her deck. But here we're getting another boost card. This Boom Grenade entered without a counter. It got cranked, which means that Mara's hoping to hit with it this turn, because there's only this turn to hit with it. But we're looking at, I think, 2 cards in hand. It's hard to see with the sleeve. There we go. The Boom Grenade has been hit, and he didn't want to commit cards to it. It's just like, my life total is high enough. I can take this damage. I just want to keep as many cards as possible in hand to come back.
Yep, and I think another thing at this point in the game, both of our players actually don't really have much equipment left. You have the Teklo Foundry Heart on Mara's side, and those Valiant Dynamos that we finally that this is the first time we've seen them in play on Anastasia's side. It's definitely better to block with them here than on that Fender Bender because, like, the Fender Bender would get +1 from the equipment block. But it looks like
So
Powder Keg destroyed them though, so so it didn't matter.
Well, there was the powder keg. We did see it briefly.
Yep.
I just wanted that second attack wasn't actually a boost card. But it does gain go again because items were destroyed this turn. So a very neat kind of defensive offensive card that's a bit situational in both cases, but did get through. And we have brought Annie's life down to 17. We have dealt 20 damage, and Annie was okay to give up just 1 card there because we have A
A
hot
slizzy
streak.
dizzy.
A slizzy dizzy hot streak. So this is coming in for 3. We've got 2 resources remaining, and surely we've got more plays after this with 2 cards in hand. I think Mara's looking at all reds, maybe.
I do think that was a very, very efficient turn from Mara though to get some skin back in this game after Anastasia's Lumina Ascension turn, which is, I mean, with unarguably Bolton's most threatening turn in the game.
Of course, for sure. But Mara is on 5 remaining, and it's kind of the point where you do have to start blocking, and that's where this hot streak really shines. When you're forcing your opponent to block, which allows you to get another weapon attack without committing any sort of resources to it. And he's probably going to be able to start grinding away at these attack action cards in hand because, of course, items don't block. And that's going to make things much more difficult for Mara to continue playing bigger turns as well. Like, it's almost like because I'm a fad boomer, almost like back in the day where you're pitching cards to your Kodachis to hit twice, take cards out of their hand, and they suddenly can't hit back at you.
The Kodachi lock.
The old Kodachi lock.
The old Kodachi lock. A classic. Kodachi for 1.
Mm-hmm. Or pistol locking if you're the original Dash. So here we're getting a block with a high octane just to kind of turn off the ability to gain go again, but forcing Eddie to have a go again. But there's a Blade Runner, which means this entire saber is coming in for 8. That's 60% more damage than needed for lethal.
Wow, Kiki with the fast math. Wow, are we doing fractions?
I don't know why I made it my thing. I just really like to show off the fact that I can do most percentages fairly well in my head.
Yeah, I'm impressed.
So we're getting a block for 6 on this 8 damage. That is 75% of the damage blocked. But of course it's getting +1, so it's now moving up to 66%, moving down to 66% of the damage blocked. 33% of the damage coming through, cutting Mara's life down by 60%, down to 2.
Oh my gosh, I didn't know you were a math genius over here.
I'm really not. Please don't put letters in my math. But we will go, speaking of math, from 0 to 60. This is 4 damage with boosted. So this is actually coming in for +2 for 6. 50% more efficient. Coming in for 6, this is a fantastic 1-card hand here, but of course Mara's still on 2. Like, it'll be interesting to see if Annie decides to block any of this, or just wants a full 5 cards to come back at Mara with. Being on 2 is really important here specifically. There's no equipment left for Mara, which means she has to block from hand to stop the hot streak. And as I've mentioned numerous times, most of the deck is attack actions or things that don't block. So that hot streak is likely to go again with very little effort for the remainder of this game from this point onwards.
Yeah, but if you had to give a percentage number of how likely it was.
Well, I know that there is a high octane near the bottom of Mara's deck, so that removes one of them. And we saw one of them getting blocked in the previous turn, which makes it more difficult. We've seen a Spark of Genius get removed as well. And those are really the only non-blocking, non-attack actions in the deck. So at least 50% of them are gone already.
Take it on the chin.
That was a fantastic way to just get this agility token. We don't even need this hot streak to have go again. This just has go again now because of this agility token. We're going to see 2 weapons. We're going to see the small Kodachi lock, but maybe there's a small Kodachi lock, the big Kodachi lock. These are coming in for 2.
Sounds like Anastasia crunched the numbers as well and said, "Let's not take the chance. Just make the agility and give it the go again."
Yeah, no, for sure. I love the certainty, and like that. Take it on the chin's not doing much when you're this far ahead on the offense.
Right.
And we still have 2 cards in hand. Are we seeing? I don't. Oh, is there reactions? Is there a route? Oh, Glenn the Quicksilver, of course.
Click the Quicksilver. Draw a card.
And we have 2 cards in hand. We could charge a card here, or just play one of the many attacks that are 0 in the deck. Just get another card out of Mara's hand, and buy you a whole nother turn. Oh, there we go. There's a Via the Vanguard coming in with no charge. This is just coming in for 3 damage. But of course, that's still another card from hand. I'm pretty sure Annie is 1000% okay with just taking Mara down to 1 card in hand.
Yep, 1 card in hand, or hoping that Mara's hand's just a bunch of items.
Of course, yeah. Look, you could just be playing to that. And we're seeing a block with the third 0 to 60 in red. At least I think it's a third. I don't remember if she plays other colors.
Those are really pretty 0 to 60s.
Mm-hmm. Wait, they only come in red. Those ones, right? I think so. And here we see a Teklo Core being the last card in hand. If Annie had one more attack that turn, that could have been the game. But we're getting a soul, getting charged here. This attack is coming for 3.
Yep, that is a red engulfing light. Yep. So on hit, it'll go to soul.
Mm-hmm. But of course, if Mara doesn't block this is just lethal. So Mara's forced to block here. It's going to get the +1, which will leak damage through. And also, Bolton's ability is going to be able to trigger here as well to give it go again. Or we can just give it plus a billion damage, I guess.
That is plus a billion damage, correct?
Give or take. Like, you've heard me do the math. We know it's correct.
Beautiful signed beacon of victory. Such pretty cards from these players. And a really good game. We have Anastasia taking down the bounty this week and the Rainbow Pitch League. Congratulations. We got to see some cool combo-y things from Bolton. I do love a good Bolton game. Like I love Warrior. I don't play a ton of Bolton. To be fair, it's probably the Warrior I play the least, but I do love watching Bolton.
Bolton is one of my favorite heroes I've never played in Constructed.